If we look at the Australian property market, that is what's feeding into our new state of play. And what we have is a situation where we had a small pause on the property market because everybody got spooked with rapid rising interest rates. And again, the language in the press, the media, it was all about, oh my goodness, rates skyrocket, rates rise, rates rise. Not rates return to normal, but panic terminology as if it was some sort of massive escalation, unusual. Now people are starting to get used to it because they haven't been lifted since June, which is a good thing. But what is happening is some other key elements in the market. Interest rates has calmed down in that sentiment, but the biggest thing that's happening in Australia at the moment is that there's a load of people downsizing, and when they sell their home in Australia that they've lived in, there is no capital gains tax. So they sell, the entire proceeds are available, and that's creating significant cash buyers to go out, and in particular the baby boomers, which are 56 to 70 years old at the moment, are looking to downsize or upgrade their life, relocate to nicer areas, retire, and they're going with significant pots of cash, not in their superannuation, not in their savings, but from the sale of their previous property, particularly if they were coming from New South Wales, where those price points have lifted sharply over the last 5 years. And you add to that migration pressure at record levels, and again, most of that migration coming with skilled or family usually have money with them to buy their family home, to buy a nice property at a fraction of the cost of maybe where they've come from, and that's changing things significantly. And then you've got the construction industry, ironically, at this time of maximum opportunity. If you were a builder, there is no better time in the history of Australia than right now. People need housing. Migrants coming in need an additional house for every migrant that comes to the country because the other one wasn't available. But at the same time, the government has been so asleep at the wheel that the construction industry is in peril in Australia, and we cannot keep up with this demand, and therefore there's heaps of trouble and no ability to match supply and demand, and that's likely to continue for 3 to 5 years. You cannot change that quickly. It's going to take a long time. And the government is fueling demand by encouraging people to buy houses, i.e. with their first buyer incentives, with their new build incentives that the Liberals did, rather than helping with supply. And that's a big issue. The government should be backing off the demand pedal and pushing on the supply pedal. Instead, what they're talking about doing is building lots of affordable houses, and that's going to put even more pressure on the construction industry because they'll go do the jobs for the government instead of for the community, and that's going to be problematic. We're seeing also a situation where the market has split into two. If it's a luxury, lovely house, it's going to grow at a much faster pace than an investment property, and that's what's going to happen. We're going to see that even become more prevalent into the future, and largely because the socio-economics is changing in Australia, where because of that sale of the baby boomers, giving them cash, they're not worried about interest rates, they're not worried about anything, they've got cash, they need somewhere to live, they're going to go buy it. So that's going to stay there for a long, long time, and the livable element is going to become far more profitable than if it's just purely investment stock. So what I would encourage you to do, whether you're investing or buying for yourself, is make sure you get the nicest property you can for your budget. Wherever that may be, whatever style you like, get it so it's nicer and it appeals to someone to live in more than just to hang around. If we have a look at the other things, is that supply issue is going to drag around for one heck of a long period of time. As I say, it could be a 5-year lag before that fixes. And then we're also seeing people, whinge about things like Airbnb, as if that is hurting the market. Well, I don't believe it is to the great extent that they'd like to make it sound like. And in fact, it's helping the market because people can go on holiday at a more affordable rate. But is the government really entitled to say how I want to deal with my property, whether I want to deal with it long or short term? Should they be influencing my decision? I don't think so. I don't think so. They can create encouragement or disincentive, into a market how they see fit. but I don't think they have a right to stop on my throat and tell me you can or can't do something with my own property that I've paid hard-worked money for. And then we're seeing a situation where that owner-occupied rate is going to continue to rise in Australia, and that's going to make it harder and harder for rental property market, because investors are not being given a lot of incentive at the moment to come in, and therefore as people buy to live and it's no longer to rent, that rental pool is contracting and contracting and contracting. The demand is still strong. Rents are going to continue to rise at a pretty fast pace. What we've seen in doing that is that all the states in Australia, when we look at where they are on the map, I still think they're fairly consistent to last year, and they're still in what I consider to be the period of opportunity. You know, I think we're just at the start of this supply crisis. I think we're just at the beginning of the demand boom, and I think we're going to see a very strong property market, largely because of a significant amount of this downsizer and a significant amount of migration coming into the country. So anywhere in Australia to buy a quality, livable property is right in the period of opportunity in my mind.